Through our immigration system, cheap labor became the drug of Western economies. It should be no surprise that when we send so much of our industrial base to other countries, we stop making interesting new things right here at home. And so I'd ask my friends not to see the failure of the logic of globalization as a failure of innovation. Indeed, I'd say that globalization's hunger for cheap labor is a problem precisely because it's been bad for innovation.
Did globalization fail, or was it always a rigged game? For decades, the world was sold a dream that opening up markets would bring prosperity for all. But look around. What do we see? Shuttered factories, dwindling wages, and entire industries lost to foreign competitors. Now, even policymakers in major economies are saying it out loud. Globalization has failed. Speaking at the American Dynamism Summit, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance tore into the two biggest lies behind globalization. First, the myth that rich countries could just design things, while poor countries made them. The narrative was that advanced economies would climb the value chain, while nations like China, India, and Mexico would handle the grunt work. But reality struck back. The nations that manufactured didn't just stop at assembly lines. They learned, they innovated, and now they're outpacing the very economies that once led them. Once the U.S. built 3 Liberty ships every 2 days. Today, it builds just 5 commercial ships in an entire year. Meanwhile, China builds more ships than the rest of the world combined.
I think we got it wrong. It turns out that the geographies that do the manufacturing get awfully good at the designing of things. Now, we assume that other nations would always trail us in the value chain, but it turns out that as they got better at the low end of the value chain, they also started catching up on the higher end. We were squeezed from both ends.
And here's the second great deception. Cheap labor was good for the economy. Companies across the world got addicted to outsourcing, to cutting costs instead of innovating. The result? A stagnant workforce, a weaker industrial base, and struggling middle classes. Vance said it plainly. Cheap labor didn't make economies stronger, it made businesses lazier.
Cheap labor is fundamentally a crutch, and it's a crutch that inhibits innovation. I might even say that it's a drug that too many American firms got addicted to. Now, if you can make a product more cheaply, it's far too easy to do that rather than to innovate.
So was globalization ever really about prosperity? Or was it just a convenient excuse for the elites to shift wealth overseas while gutting the backbone of domestic industries? And what about the promises made to workers that they could learn to code or simply adapt? Where did that leave them? Replaced by automation, dependent on welfare, and stripped of purpose.
Now, when we innovate, we do sometimes cause labor market disruptions. That happens. Now, after all, who would claim that man was made less productive by the invention of the transistor, or the metal lathe, or the steam engine? Real innovation makes us more productive, but it also, I think, dignifies our workers. It boosts our standard of living. It strengthens our workforce and the relative value of its labor.
Vance's speech lays bare the brutal truth. Many nations were sold out. Leadership across the world failed. But here's the real question. Is it too late to take back what was lost? Globalization was never just about economics. It was about power. And the ones who controlled it made sure they won while the rest of the world paid the price. The tide is turning, but are nations ready to rebuild? To reclaim their place as engines of innovation and strength? Or will they remain trapped in a failed experiment? The choice is now.